Hey everybody, on today's episode of TTS Today, we're going to discuss quotation reports. This is going to be the final section in the quotation series. We also refer to quotation reports as an advanced search because it gives you a lot of different areas to check off and search by. So let's head over to the Quotation Reports tab and create some reports. This is our first video after releasing our new website. I just wanted to show you how you would access both our software packages from the new interface. So at the right, we have login, and this will give us both applications, TTS platform, which we're going to go into today, and our total order entry or TOE software. Clicking on TTS, it brings us to the same login screen that you're used to, so everything else is going to be the same. Click on sign in, and today we're going to talk about quotation reports. So if we click on the quotation tab and go down to quotation reports, advanced search, that will give you the quotation search screen. So a lot going on the screen. The first section will have the report types. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different quotation reports that we can run, and we're going to go through each one today. Quotation types, so we can actually search by all quotes or project quotes or stock quotes. Quote dates, so we can search from a range of dates. If we leave it blank, it will search all quotes, by the way. Last revised dates, so any quote that has been revised, it will only pull those in when we do the search. And then we can choose our statuses, our customers, contractors, vendors, all the different variables that have been set up for a particular quote. We can search by them right in here. So for the first report, and also we have saved reports. So if you've saved a report previously, you can pull that up and automatically get all this criteria checked off the way you did previously. So let's do a sort by customer report. We'll start from the top and move down. And I'm just going to choose a revised date. So I'm going to pick last month to today, and I'm going to click on create report. So this is how you generate your list of reports. And again, this was a customer report that is grouped by customers. So notice a distributor, I had some reports, and these are revised. Steve Draws, I have a bunch of reports, and Steve House A. So it groups them by the different customers in this particular report. And then we have some options. So add to dashboard. So our dashboard is the initial screen that you sign into. So we can actually have this report show up on the dashboard. So if you wanted to see revised quotation reports every time you sign in, we can add this to the dashboard just by doing that. And we can choose, and we went over this in another video, but they allow you to choose, give it a name, of course, and choose the type of dates that you want. So in this case, I did from last month to today. So that date range would be the exact date range if you chose exact, or a date range would just be a month and a half prior to the day. So based on what you choose here, this is how you save that report to the dashboard. And just quickly, if we go down to the bottom, save report. So remember that drop-down list that we were looking at. If I click on here, we can give this a name, and then we don't have to choose any criteria. So that was a simple search, but if you have a lot of different criteria, that's a good idea to save a search. You don't have to enter it each time. Now compare quotes, very interesting, and combine quotes. So since this is a report by customers, they give us the ability to do a couple of things here. Export to Excel. So if we wanted to save this as an Excel worksheet to look at our workbook, to look at it another time, we can do that. But compare quotes. So for instance, let's go through, I have 2 quotes here. So if we look on this screen, it has a value of 1198, and this one has a value of 1497. It's the same quote number, so it's the same quote, but it's been assigned to 2 different customers. I may want to compare and see what's the difference between these two. So by clicking compare, What it does is it gives us a one screen layout of this quote. So here is the first one that goes to Steve Draws, and it gives you all the bill of material down here. And if I click on Steve House A, what it does is it quickly will change to view that bill of material. So by pricing, for instance, 3/4 inch bronze hex nut is $48 or a buck 25 on this one, and on this one it's $1. So we can compare the two and see why this one's $11.98 and why this one's $14.97. So without having to print out the two reports and look at them on a piece of paper, for instance, we can just have it on screen and do a quick swap between the two, get an idea of what is different between these two quotes. And then, as usual on most of these reports, we will have a return to report, and that'll bring us to back to the customer report. And now let's do combine, for instance. So a distributor, I have 3 quotes. If we wanted to combine all these into one quote, maybe make it easier, we could actually just hit combine, and what it will do is combine them into an Excel report. All right, so the next report is going to be sort by quote name in a list format. So let's choose the same criteria. Gives us a nice simple report. And basically what that will do is give you a list format. It doesn't break it out by customer, it doesn't break it out by quote name. And we can scroll left and right to see extra information on here. Notice the notes is a hyperlink. So if I click on the notes, it will bring up the internal notes for that particular quote. By the way, I didn't mention this in the last report, but this is a way to search for quotes, right? It would be silly if you couldn't actually open the quote. So just by clicking on the quote name, it will open the quote for you. And you can make changes, you can update it, whatever you need to do. And there is always a back to report that I mentioned prior to this that will bring you back to the report we just ran. So notice we do have compare quotes, so we can select a bunch and compare quotes if we needed to, just like we did in the last demonstration. Export to Excel, save report if I wanted this report to be in the drop-down list on the quote reports screen, and add to dashboard. So let's go back to the next report. So next one is sort by quote name in the list format, but internal notes. So if you remember the last one, we just clicked on internal notes and it showed us the internal note in a pop-up. This one will actually, when I scroll to the right, will actually give you the text in the internal note. So we don't have to open it up. You do have the ability to do that, but if I wanted to see this quote to 18239 and scroll over, if I had an internal note, it would show you the text. So here's the whole conversation, for instance, for this particular quote, right on the screen. So when I save this to Excel, we'll have that information right on the screen without having to worry about saving the notes separately, for instance. So that was quote name list format by internal notes. So the next one will be our quote name. And the quote name is a great one for the compare function that I just showed you. This is what happens when you forget to choose a date. It will roll and roll and roll, and we're going to get a message that tells you we have a limit. I didn't put any criteria in here, so this is giving us all quotes, by the way. So that's what happened there. So let's go back. Choose the same one, but I'm going to choose a date. Now I've been choosing revised date, but I can also go back and choose just a quote date. So this is every quote that's been created, not revisions, but every quote that's been created within this time frame. Choose by quote name. And we get a bunch here. So notice that this quote name report will group them by the same quote. So for instance, this one, and this is one I compared before, and this is why this is a very good report for using that compare function, is it gives you the ability to see which quotes are the same. So these three, for instance, are the same quote name, and I can do a quick compare on this if I wanted to, and it shows you those three quotes. I don't have any dollars, so this one probably doesn't make sense to do that, but the quote name report is great for comparison, so it breaks them out and shows you an easy view of which quotes are the same. Okay. And the last quote is probably the most powerful one. It's quote Rollup. And I'm going to choose a particular distributor because a distributor has a lot of data. And I'm going to go back. Let's go to the beginning of 2021. So I get a good bit of information in here. And I could do it to today. That works fine. I'm going to create this report. Basically, what this is going to give us, quote Rollup, is actually going to give us some summary information based on the number of quotes I have, the number of win-loss, and it will actually calculate a win-loss percentage. It'll calculate a win to total percentage. So based on everything in that time frame, we had a total of 56 in the buy state, for instance. We have a total of 99 reports, and it even gives us the amount. So when we look at the one percentage, so what this is doing, 77% is going to be the one amount divided by the win plus loss amount. So that will give you, just based on these two numbers, what's the percentage of the win loss. And at the bottom in yellow, we have a 27% win to total percentage. So based on this 27 divided by the 99, you will get a win divided by total. So we have a 25% win total percentage. So great to see in a quick summary report all the information based on that time frame that we created. We entered in all these statistics right up at the top. And you have closed. So how many were closed? How many were no info? Okay. Um, and we can also look at the status here. So if I wanted to see sort, and I didn't mention this in the other reports, but I can click on these headings and it will sort by that particular heading. So here's all the wins, and I can scroll down. There's my no info, for instance. If I wanted to view that no info, I could click on it and it would give me that particular report that we were looking for. Let's go back to report. And we do have the ability to compare quotes in here as well. Okay, so if we needed to compare from this particular screen, we can just choose whatever we want, click the compare button. We can dump this to Excel, and we can also save this report. So saving the report, as you know, will allow it to be easily found in the Save Reports field. So that is reports in TTS, or quotation reports, I should say. So we give you a number of different types of reports and different sorts, and a whole lot of search options. So I've been choosing all and then choosing a date, but you can choose by a customer. You can choose by a specific vendor, even an outside salesperson too. So um, dozens of different types of reports can be run just from all these different selections that you choose. So that is reports in the TTS system under the quotation tab. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.